Hello, everybody. Spot of Nerd here with. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I can say this. It breaks every rule in my book, but I was able to go and see. Let's talk about. Okay, before I tell you the really, really bad news. I was very fortunate for the first time in over 7 years of doing Spot of Nerd. I was able to go to an early press release of DC's newest film, The Flash. It was really cool because I've never had the experience before. Lots of press around. Chairs were reserved in the theater for press people, including me, which is really, really awesome. So, and it was free. So if you know me, if you follow me, you know I have absolutely zero desire to see this film. I didn't want to, strictly because the point is Ezra Miller is a convicted pedophile. And when adults and children coincide with obviously inappropriate behavior, that is a line I will not cross. I will not tolerate. I think that is wrong. I think he deserves to be in jail. He's also convicted of assault, so on and so forth. How he is not in jail right now is beyond me, but that's beside the point because this review is about The Flash. And this is where the bad news comes in because somehow I gotta get these out. I gotta get this out because it was the movie itself as a whole was it was actually kind of good. Holy crap. Genuinely, my mind is blown. This film was actually a decent film, and I'm gonna tell you why. So, the cliche stuff, as you are fully aware, you're gonna be spoiled. This movie doesn't come out for another week or so, so just as a heads up, if you do not want to learn about this film, I'm gonna be talking about the plot, who's in it, so on and so forth. Come back later when you've seen the film, yada yada, or if you don't care, please continue to watch, continue to listen on Rumble, Spotify, YouTube, everywhere you can think of. I'm wearing these fancy dancy Pit Vipers right now. If you're watching, if you're listening, you are missing out because not only do you get to see the beautiful, wonderful me, but you also get to see these pretty, ridiculously awesome Pit Vipers that I just bought because fuck me if it doesn't make me look good. So, anyway, let's review The Flash. And like I've said, I swear to you, Scout's honor, this isn't a bad movie. And it rips me to pieces to have to share that with you because it's got fucking Ezra Miller in it. And I fucking hate him because he touches children. It's so wrong. And it's so just not okay. In fact, if you actually replaced Ezra Miller with somebody else completely, even the CW Flash, the guy who plays the Flash in the CW series, you would have actually made this go from a good film to a great film. I will pause to let everybody's minds blow because, yeah, DC actually made a decent flick. If you've listened before to some of the podcasts, some of the most recent garbage, like Shazam 2, was just truly one of the worst films I've ever seen in my entire life. So when The Flash, let's be real, the way they've been marketing it is it's going to be a Batman film. The only reason people are going to go watch this, and I still hold true, this movie isn't even out yet, but I still hold true to the fact that the only reason people are going to go watch this is because of Michael Keaton. And yes, that was probably the only reason that, even though it was free to watch, this is the only reason I wanted to see it, was because we're gonna get to see classic Keaton. And I gotta say, let's start right there. Batman 89, aka Michael Keaton, owns this film. There are just the sequences that Michael Keaton's Batman in this film are truly spectacular. There isn't enough words to describe the sheer epic and awesome that Michael Keaton's Batman brought to this film. I still remember being a kid watching Batman for the first time, 1989, with Jack Nicholson as a Joker. This was the movie that should have been. Not saying that the 89 film was bad, but what I'm talking about is when you have the technology that you do today, when you have the stunt people, the CGI, which was fantastic, by the way, we'll go into that again a little bit later, but when you bring that together, this was the Batman we deserved from the 89 Michael Keaton Batman. The fight sequences were incredible. The Batjet, the overall, like, you know, he's older, so he hasn't been Batman for a while. Kind of that story arc of his, the multiverse in the DC world. It really was something special. And again, I have to give them credit, the people that directed the film, because yes, they marketed it to be a Batman film. They are marketing this film so that you go watch it strictly for the fact that Michael Keaton is in this film. Please avoid the fact that Ezra Miller is a convicted pedophile. So again, I just have to give so much credit because Michael Keaton killed it. And going back to the whole synopsis, in the very beginning, you have the Justice League, which again, so many cameos. You've got Affleck, Batfleck, you've got Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, you've got Aquaman, stay to the end of the credits. You don't get to see Cyborg, and you get a glimpse of Henry Cavill's Superman. You get to see Nick Cage's Superman. Fucking epic. One of the most... I swear to you, there's even moments at the end of this where you're tearing up because they're doing all these dimensions, and you get to see Christopher Reeve's Superman, and it kind of brings a tear to your eye because you're like, that is the... I mean, that's Superman right there. You know, he was what defined Superman for this day and age, for the comics, for the movies, the live action, everything. Christopher Reeve was Superman. And it's just so, it starts with an incredible sequence at the beginning with the Justice League, and then it moves, of course, into the Flash meeting himself in the past because he's trying to save his mother from dying. Bibbidi bobbidi boo, blah blah blah. The beginning of the film is very dry. In fact, this is where it does need, if anything, you could go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do, because what it comes down to is Ezra Miller is annoying as fuck. And then when you have two Ezra Millers, Jesus Christ, it is obnoxious. The jokes they try to pull between each other, their fascination with... this is where it gets so disgusting, because the fascination with him and genitalia is just weird, and I would warn that if you take your children, please be careful. He references dicks and scrotums. I am not shitting you. Be careful with that, because again, little kids, you don't need that shit. And the fact that they let that into this film is a little creepy and weird, but I mean, again, there's not really much you can do about it now. So if you can bust through, so there's the Justice League in the beginning, badass sequence, badass CGI. Again, so much credit to the CGI in this film. They really did an amazing, amazing job. Truly, I'm glad that whatever budget they had, they really did focus on the CGI, because yes, it is fake, but at the same time, it's not really, it's basically done in a very well design. And what I mean by that, of course, because the Flash can go back in time, he can obviously go through speed, yada yada yada. The way they show it to you visually is very impressive. It's very, very cool. And so then you get the middle part with Double Ezra's trying to figure out, he's created this. It's basically it's a fucking Marvel film, by the way, just FYI. They've broken the Marvel Cinematic Universe, aka the DC Universe, and he's obviously now got to go back and try to fix it. Hence, Michael Keaton, because he ends up in a dimension where he is Batman, Michael Keaton. And instead of Henry Cavill as Superman, they of course wind up with Supergirl. And credit where credit is due, again, this is another reason why it's a good film. I was worried, very, very worried, I'm not gonna lie to you, because I thought they were gonna woke the crap out of this film with politics and narratives and agendas, and they didn't. Again, I'll pause for the mind blown. I really genuinely thought they were gonna go some sort of ideology or narrative, politics, and they really stayed away from it. I still don't even know what really the words to use or say, because Supergirl was pretty badass. Now, my only critique, I guess, would be with her is that they kind of almost, it was a bit lackluster, if that makes sense. She was very well portrayed. She was very Henry Cavill-esque, if you can kind of get my meaning there. But she didn't have a lot of screen time, so she's kind of she's made into Supergirl, they fight off Zod, she dies, sorry to say, and that's it. Then the ending, that's I guess another thing with the ending, where the bottom line is, if you're familiar with the story arc of The Flash, Flashpoint is the comic series they tried to kind of go off of. You have Good Barry and Bad Barry. Bad Barry tries to go back in time to save his mother, continuously fucks up the universe. Good Barry says, you gotta let it go, man, you gotta let it go. They fight each other and it's done. So that could have done, I'll be honest with you, a little bit of work. The dialogue was just really shitty. Fucking the double Barry had to die in order for him to save himself, blah 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 blah. And the timeline is fixed. Sort of. And this is where, again, I really appreciated some of these cameos. At the end of the film, he's picking up the phone because it's Bruce Wayne, and lo and behold, motherfucking George Clooney gets out of the car. So fucking awesome. Now, George Clooney was the worst fucking Batman ever to grace the live action screen of the character. But again, I love these little kind of euphemisms, I guess. I don't know, I forget what that word means, but you know what I mean, where it's just, I love these little cameos, these little tidbits, Easter eggs that they kind of put in the film. But overall, I mean, again, it's just, I cannot believe, but I can't lie, and this is why I want to make sure that I'm very genuine. I'm real. If you follow me, if you listen to me, if you watch me, obviously I sincerely appreciate it, even you haters, because I know you're out there. But I will always be real, and I will always be truthful, because again, as much as I wanted to hate and despise this film, I can't not tell you the truth and say, would I go watch it again? I wouldn't go see it in theaters, because again, I don't want to pay for it. But if you got a chance to see it, maybe if you had a membership to these theaters, you might want to go see it. This is me, Spot of Nerd, recommending I would go and watch this film if I were you. I really, really would. It's just something that would be amazing to see on the big screen. And again, as I've said, as a fan from the beginning, if you are a fan of Michael Keaton's 1989 Batman, you will die in love. You will almost shed a tear of joy, because that is the Batman we always wanted. They didn't have the technology back then, but god damn it, they do now. And they hit every single point. It was fucking fantastic. So, we'll give it 2 cups of tea out of 4. You know me, Spot of Nerd. I would give it 3, but again, it's the fucking Ezra Miller I can't get past. But still, very, very good film to watch. Go check it out if you can, or at least just wait and see it as soon as you can. But you know what I mean with all that. But we will wrap this episode up. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Check us out, of course, the podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the other shit and so on and so forth. Subscribe. I would be so grateful if you followed and subscribed both on Rumble, preferred YouTube as well. Like, comment, let me know your thoughts when you see it, or if you haven't seen it, and if you don't care what you think about the video. We're gonna see Transformers tomorrow, which, depending on when you're seeing this, could be totally not anything relevant. But the bottom line is, I'm really excited to go see Transformers Rise of the Beast, because please, God, please let them do it justice. Please let them do a live action Beast Wars the way it's supposed to be done. And what I mean by that is, it was truly one of the greatest shows ever to this day made. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Beast Wars, Beast Machines. That was your Saturday mornings when you were a kid. It was just unfucking believable, and I'm super excited to see it on live action screen, especially if they keep up. Bumblebee was a really, really good film. If this is kind of a sequel to that, I'm hoping they stick to the same story arcs, I guess. What I mean is, they're not a Michael Bay fucking film, is what I'm getting at, without Mark Wahlberg. I love Marky Mark, but the dude, you don't belong in a Transformers film. You just don't. So stay tuned for that, because we will, of course, also be reviewing that as soon as possible. And I think that's about what I got. Oh! Yeah, no, well, tell you what, just fucking roll the credits, and we'll do it at the end of the credits. So, and what I'm getting at is, I'm spoilering this one for you right now. Stay to the end of the credits here, because I'm gonna tell you something that's pretty hilarious. So, thank you again. Thank you all so much for watching and listening, and we will see you guys next time. Later, y'all. Okay, for real, I have to just... I'm laughing because you could have predicted this the moment the news came out, but it is official that Disney's live-action Mermaid is a absolute flop, and it is predicted that they're basically predicted to lose hundreds of millions of dollars off of this film. And I'm laughing not because of all the bullshit you're hearing about, the racism this and the racism that. It's all because of the fact that nobody asked for this film. Just like all the other live action films, nobody fucking asked for it. And this is why Disney is failing so epically, whether it's with Star Wars, Marvel, so on and so forth. They're trying to produce and give content that nobody gives two ass fucks about. Leave the classics alone. Try to come up with some new content, because otherwise, this is your end result. Nobody gives a shit. It ain't about racism. It ain't about whatever other bullshit they're trying to tell you. The bottom line is, the live action Mermaid is a pile of ass. I've actually tried to watch it, about 20 minutes of it. It is so horrifically bad, from the CGI to the acting to... They are definitely driving a narrative in terms of politics. So the bottom line is, Disney, you metaphorically shot yourselves in the foot on this one. That's on you. That's all, folks.